actually hit enter when I put in other things. Oop. Okay, pause.
Perfectly timed.
I don't know. Perfect's the word. There we go.
Okay. Interestingly timed.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm AD Springer, also known as Corbinian. This is the Electric Metropolis video game tour, and once again, I'm playing in yet another episode of Star Trek Return to the Frontier aboard the USS Andromeda, a 2E Star Trek Adventures TTRPG tale. And, yeah, something bad happened last time. Maybe something nice will happen this time. But we shall see. I'll throw it over to the GM. Already has 5 threats.
All right. Let me fix that.
Should be 200 threat.
As it is a 20 threat game.
20 per player.
This is actually only a 5 threat or a 1 threat game.
Okay, darn.
So 5. So we jump straight to the mess deck.
Oh.
Where the enlisted crew of the USS Andromeda are all gathered. The room is abuzz with conversation. Before the chief calls the room to order. And motions to Yeoman Heron. The yeoman says, "Hello, everybody. Chief wanted me to make sure you all got this update, and since some of you are on your first patrol, you got a re-explanation of its meaning." He kind of hands out a couple of pads to be passed around, and he says, what you have there is a transmission from Starfleet Command, signed by the President and the Chief of Operations. It indicates that the state of emergency associated with the war is now over. All border operations have been completed, all planets reintegrated, and all disasters, emergencies, and rebuilding efforts completed or no longer require extreme measures to complete. Why the chief wanted me to clarify that for some of y'all is many of you, including myself, have only served since the start of the war. This officially releases you from the requirement to stay in service, you now can renegotiate your enlistment at the end of the patrol. Some of you that have been in long enough will be aware of how that works. Others, you'll be seeing your divisional officer and meet with them and the chief, and I'll be there to note take to see what's next for you in Starfleet. Now that the war is over, you have the opportunity to decide if Starfleet is the place you want to continue to be. And he kind of looks back over the chief if the chief has any closing thoughts or words.
I imagine a lot of you signed on for your reasons in Starfleet and enlisted at took your classes at Mars, and we didn't know how this was all going to turn out and what exactly we thought we were going to be. Some of us, some people even signed up in the Mars Academy and even the Earth Academy for even longer before. The vision of Starfleet will likely change, and a lot of things will be different. As much as we've lived up to our ideals in Starfleet, there is a difference between when you're under the gun and when you go back to exploring and pioneering. I would advise any of you to, with the new future of peace we have now, to take this chance to embrace the mission that lies ahead of us. Even if it isn't here aboard the Andromeda, Starfleet has many opportunities for anyone who is seeking to better themselves, better the Federation, and just see more of the stars. If there are any special concerns, feel free to consult me as soon as you can. If there is a dispute with your officers, take it with me first. I will negotiate with the officers and the captain if needed. But largely, I think, as unconventional a crew as we are, I think we can work this out together and figure out where we're all going to go and what we're going to do.
The yeoman does start handing out additional information and points out crewman Shasharian, you'll want to meet with the captain or the XO, being that your divisional head is the chief here. And he continues, attending to other small business like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything from the chief or Griffin as people start milling around and talking about what's next? Some people talking about, the job they have lined up with their cousin, or maybe taking a signing up for a year on K4. Then there's a lot of people who seem to be talking about staying on.
How long has it been since we lost tag?
A few days. But the ship is now headed back for K4 at a slower warp than y'all had, jetted.
Mhm.
We're intending to jet there because you resolved the problem. So y'all will end up getting to K4 a month shy of being out for a year.
So there's some level of rotation though that'll likely happen, I imagine.
Yeah,
Even
the
if people
patrol
do want to stay on.
Yeah, y'all are headed back because the patrol's was expected to last for a year, and the cat for whatever reason the Commodore has gone ahead and um um recalled the Andromeda and um, is closing out its tour just a few weeks early.
Mm.
Yeah. Question. Are the war games still happening? Was it Third Fleet, Fourth Fleet was engaged in war games at K4 while we were working it?
They have finished the practical stage because that was traveling at the maximum speed where like the engineers all have to be working in shifts and the engines have to be like tuned down a bit every 12 hours. Traveling at your normal cruising speed, it goes from being like 36 hours to being like a week and a half
Yeah,
of
yeah,
travel.
because we're not,
Yeah.
stressing the engines. Yeah, of course. Okay.
But no, they're wrapping that up, and it'll be finished by the time you get there.
Yeah. So Griffin's going to add on to the conversation. I know some of you haven't lost a roommate before. If you need to talk, I know that's normally a medical thing, but I'm all ears if you just want to sit down, grab a drink, any of that.
Give me presence medicine difficulty. Just because you don't wear blue, so there's people aren't predisposed to think of you in this way. Difficulty 2.
All right. I'm very bad at this.
Might be why people don't defaultly think about you when they think of you.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. But
Renowned Starfleet crew will give you a free hit though.
cool. What about
Brazen
some
is gonna
survival? Anything?
no. But
Cool.
I think Brazen is actually gonna wash out
Wow.
Renowned Starfleet crew because
Yeah.
you're pretty quick to say things and people know that.
Cool. Well, I'm just gonna roll this flat, I think, and see how it goes. Hopefully I don't comp.
With a 7 and a 2. Not very well, I expect.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna go very well, but it might. Nah.
You get a few nods. People don't think you've said or done anything unacceptable. It's just you don't think anybody's gonna take you up on
Yeah.
it.
That seems to kind of wake Aratana out of the steady stare that he's been giving, like just gazing around, very security guard mind. And then when you say that, he just kind of blinks and shakes off that mode for a second. To that end, actually, one thing I wish to unofficially invite you all to do. There's, I have intention at earliest convenience for ship operation or perhaps on station to hold a special memorial for gunner's mate Tag von Trellian. Details of which it will be separate from the normal written funeral that would normally be held. in short, it is a remembrance ritual for my home world, and I intend to invite everyone of the crew to the event. Uh, more details on that, I'll have the omen trickle out to you should you wish to attend. It is, of course, not mandatory to attend. This is just something that I was going to do anyway, but I don't think it's right for me not to say anything to those of you who've worked with him. I kind of nod at the yeoman because I basically just blindsided him. I didn't tell him I was doing that. It's like Aratana thought to do it now. It's like I should say something. Should I say something? I'm gonna say something.
Yeah. A ritual's good to have.
Yeah, you aren't sure how many people will end up taking you up on it, but it looks promising.
Any other official or unofficial business we wish to resolve before we disperse this meeting for the day? I look at the omen and then I sweep my eye around the room.
Unless Griffin has anything, it doesn't seem anyone has anything that's so pressing they won't catch you afterwards or catch you later.
Griffin looks like she's about to say something, but holds her tongue.
All right. Dismissed. I kind of go over to the yeoman to start sharing with him some details so he can start handing out the information packet. Because again, it's one of those, I should have told you this earlier.
Oh, is there a little pamphlet the yeoman's handing out to everyone as they're walking out?
Yeah, this is the end of state of emergency pamphlet, right?
It's more of a I write like I grab a pad and I start writing it out and showing him what I'm. It's a letter he'll send later, but it's like I need him to help arrange it, sort of thing.
Yeah, everybody's gotten like 2 or 3 data tapes from the yeoman at this point.
Join us for a delicious vegetarian meal and learn about Krishna.
I just realized if we're going back for a rotation, does that mean that he died like a week from retirement, basically?
Not quite.
No, not quite.
He died a week away from being able to resign his commission.
Well, he had been saying he was too old for this yet.
I'm also going to tell the yeoman to extend that invitation to the officers through the internal mail, basically.
Well, I assume the yeoman would report to the captain on what happened here, because the captain asked him to do so because she's nosy.
Yeah. Well, it's more of a there's the official bit and then there's like unofficially let them know about this letter as well. Okay. Do me a favor, because it's partly Aratana not wanting to personally ask every officer, hey, by the way, it's like he already feels a little awkward asking people.
Enlisted function. I'm not sure.
So we jump across the ship where
which you could actually do.
Yes, which you could literally do if you went outside the ship. Where we find a bare bones officer corps as Lieutenant Inverney has accepted an invitation from a friend from the academy to participate in some of the fleet war game activities. So, as the ship is coming into port or into the starport in a few days, there is a lot of business that the captain and her officers need to see to, and one less officer to do it.
Weird. Do you have the reports I asked you to file Starfleet Medical wants their updates. And Revere, do you have the maintenance log and cargo shuttle reports we need? I don't know how long we're spending in port, so I want everything done as quickly as possible once we dock.
Yep. Medical documentation is all up to date. I will also be seeing about filling up our medical stores once again.
Revere slides over a pad and goes, here are the engineering logs, another pad, the maintenance, the cargo shuttles, and finally a list of necessary repairs if we can get them while we're in dock, as well as needed equipment and materiel. All already, just need your okay, Captain.
Yeah, she looks over them and nods, and as she reads them, she says, "And what is your assessment of the ship's warp core? It is a new ship, and the warp core has been under much stress as we've gone across the sector looking for engaging in Starfleet activity."
GM, what is my assessment of the warp core after all of this?
Insight, engineering. Difficulty 3 because of the trait prototype on the ship.
Okay. Okie dokie. Not my greatest trait, so take 3 threat for bold and 4 dice.
Y'all even get threatening on paperwork.
Mm-hmm. Tuesday game. Are you surprised?
Well, yeah. This crew was way too cautious
Yeah.
before I got here, so we've
You
got to straighten
gain
that
a
out.
momentum.
See, I feel like I always need to take cautious because I feel
Let's
like
see
I'm
if we
the
can
only
get
one who ever does
There we
take
go.
cautious.
I
Yeah, no,
rerolled the whip
good
with
to have
a
one.
bold, so yeah.
Um, the ship would not be less than capable if you only spent a few days in port, but you have a laundry list of improvements, all of which could be pretty beneficial to the functioning of the engines, and doing all of them is like a month worth of work with the ship. Like most of that, taking the ship off of any alert status to where it, there'll be points where you've to do the kind of upgrades you want to do. The ship would take like 3 days to put back together if an emergency came up.
I meta note, didn't someone spend a milestone to remove the prototype?
No, the milestone removes the downside, which is the increased critical range, but it doesn't remove the trait, because the trait starts with a beneficial thing and a downside. The milestone just allows you to remove the downside of the trait.
Okay.
So y'all still get to keep the 2 extra refits that y'all got. Your ship is basically 20 years more advanced than the line versions of the Andromeda class that not the Andromeda class, the Archer class that are being built now.
Okay. Engines are in good shape, Captain. Of course, I wouldn't mind a quick review using the K4's diagnostic capabilities, but we'll be in ship shape even if we have to put back out after only a few days That being said, however, given about 4 weeks standard time, I can make a lot of improvements to get us an extra few tenths of a percentage point, maybe maybe even 1 or 2 full percentage points of efficiency out of things. Definitely could improve the injector assembly, which would streamline things significantly. Maybe eke us out another half point of warp. So if we have the time, I'd love to take it and tear some things down and put them back in a little bit better than the way we found them. But doing so would mean that we would be unable to respond to any sort of emergency for 3 to 5 days, depending on how far down I'd have to tear things.
Yeah, so Loris nods, and you've probably talked about these things before. She is an engineer in your four,
Right.
and she nods and she says, I will bring such a suggestion up to the Commodore, although I imagine the idea of taking us offline for several days would not be appealing to him. I think if we are especially lucky, we will get 2 weeks of rest and relaxation before we are called out again. But if we have the time, any improvements you can make, the data collected by this ship will influence our fleet ships for years to come. So we better leave a good example.
Any idea why the Commodore called us in a few weeks early, Captain?
She, well,
That's
DM, insight.
Insight Command difficulty 3.
Okay. Insight command.
Respected Starfleet officer and 100 years of knowledge because you've served as a Starfleet officer for a while. I will take both of those.
Awesome. So those are 2 free hits. So awesome. Then one momentum. Insight command. This is about as good as I get. Yeah, I'm
I
not gonna have a
don't think
focus.
you have a focus. Gain 2 momentum. Matter of convenience. You were already very close. The end of the emergency declaration means that basically every ship is going to need to go back to port soon because there are tons of people who are only in the service because they were legally required to be. They couldn't retire when they wanted to, or they only intended to get in for a short time. And during a war, that's desertion to leave early. But once the state of emergency is over, it's just normal business for people to resign early. So you don't. You're really confident that there's nothing nefarious. There's nothing.
No secret missions in our
No.
wings. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's just a bureaucratic convenience.
She takes a sip of her tea and she says, I have no suspicions of any concerns. I do not believe we are going to arrive and be assigned any secret missions from the Commodore. I think most likely it is just convenience. We were already on our way, and with the end of the emergency declaration, we have a good chance of crew turnover across all of Starfleet. Perhaps that would keep us in port for a little while. If we have enough crew churn, then we would need to wait for any new crew to arrive.
Speaking of which, considering that there is likely to be at least a minor amount of crew turn, I will need to make preparations to do introductory physicals. And I assume I can count on your support in making sure that everyone properly reports in for post-deployment physicals.
So Loris nods and she says, absolutely. If you have any issues with any officer at all, or officer or crewman, come straight to me and I will sort them out. Vernie is preoccupied at the moment, so I will take a hands-on role with matters of crew.
Appreciated, Captain.
Speaking of which, a major item sitting on your desk, and the primary reason to meet is that you do have one-on-one interviews with all of the members of the crew,
Okay.
where the three of you, Inverni should be a part of it, but for whatever reason, Soloris agreed to let her, or let him go on the career boosting excursion he's on. So the three of you do have a ship full of people to interview and help them find out what's next in Starfleet for them.
Yeah, Inverni came talking about data analysis and how all of these, reports could really boost his career, and she's not made out of stone, But yeah, she'll look over the report. We have how many people to interview? All of the enlisted.
So you have three people that you would interview normally. Revere, the burden of the chief engineer is always going to have the most, and in this case, that's 6. Tawir is only slated to interview and help Conway, but you don't have a tactical officer. You rely on the
Chief.
the chief, who this is one of the few things that the chief can't replace an officer on. So you have one person out of the security division, and then the 3 people who normally serve under Inverni also need to meet with a different officer since he's away.
Well, Revere has his hands full, so Tawir and I will handle the science and security division personnel, of which there's only one security division personnel because someone already had their post-Starfleet career plans in mind.
That's harsh.
Hey, Soloris will go to the funeral if asked. She,
If asked, you're officiating.
Oh, okay.
If
Okay.
asked.
I didn't know that part.
Jesus. Well, if I have to.
All right, God, I hate funerals.
No,
Jeez.
I didn't realize I was officiating. I should have thought about that a little bit more.
You move the pad over about the interviews with the crewmen, and you see one about the final
First draft of my funeral speech, yeah.
Yeah.
This is why you have a yeoman. This is specifically why you have a yeoman, so you don't forget this stuff.
Or
Yeah,
you
well,
see
my
that
yeoman's busy hanging out with you, so.
He's officiating. He's helping you.
Really got to do something about the nomads. That's my next goal.
But yes, Soloris will say, well, we all have our assigned crew to interview. Do any of you believe you will see significant churn? Oh, Doctor, I suppose there's only one officer you could see, or one crewman you could see churn, but engineering?
Why do I have like half the crew in my department?
Because
Maintaining the ship and warp core is hard.
Right.
yeah, it's like even so the Andromeda only has an engineering of 1, but every ship that has ever existed always has a larger crew devoted to the maintenance of propulsion than any other discipline on board. So I took
And,
that
like,
to mean that even in the future, that's kind of going to stick around. Like on an engineering 5 vessel, I would expect like 75% of the crew to fall under the chief engineer.
Yeah, and I mean, I imagine that for like, any given, like, just to work on a warp core, you probably need like at least 4 or 5 people, like bare minimum, regardless of the size of the ship, and 4 or 5 people is like a third of the crew.
Yeah, fair enough.
Also,
yeah,
cons-
there are enough people that discounting to Revere, there's always 2 people in the engineering department on active
No.
on the active shift, which is not like the security division doesn't, even when Tag was alive, they're only because of Aratana did they have enough people to cover each shift. The medical division only has enough people to cover a single shift. Right. So,
But also,
engineering
our
is just big.
population is so small that I don't think injuries are a consistent thing. When on a galaxy class, someone is probably always hurting themselves.
Barclay.
Yeah. So the short answer is because the ship needs it to be that way.
Yeah, fair enough. Revere will shrug and say, I'd guess a few. I mean, particularly those who have been long service since the war began. But it's hard to say. I mean, any of the engineering crewmen could land tremendous positions in civilian life, but the flip side is unless they stay Starfleet, they're well, not exclusively, but let's be honest, the best engineering challenges and the most advanced engines of technology are in Starfleet. So, but I wouldn't be surprised if we lose a couple, 3. Hard to say, really.
She nods her head. Do you think training new personnel will be difficult? The engineering department has been under a lot of stress on our recent missions, and I don't want any green crewmen to crack under the pressure.
Well, whether they come from the academy or the technical academy, Starfleet does a good job of preparing young sentients for this kind of service, particularly now that without the pressures of the war, we'll actually be seeing graduates from both who have gone through the full course rather than being rushed through and thrown in to the front lines.
She nods her head. Well then, gentlemen, if that is everything, I believe we know what we are about to engage in.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Captain.
Doctor,
Yeah.
do you want? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Doctor, do you want to go ahead and get my physical out of the way? With this many people to have interviews with, I'm going to be pretty busy for the rest of the trip.
Yes, assuming that you're staying on for rotation here on the Andromeda, I believe I can preemptively get yours sorted.
Which might bring to mind that Solaris has another thing to consider. It is ultimately your responsibility to explain the benefits of remaining with Starfleet to the officers if they not sure what they intend to do. So,
Okay.
As Tawir says that, it comes to the front of your mind that do you actually know if Tawir and Revere are going to be staying on?
You kind of, her eyes flicker as she remembers something, and she says, it didn't even cross my mind. I assume because you've not mentioned it before, but if either of you are considering resigning from Starfleet or seeking a commission on a different ship, I would like to know now, as well. I would need to get replacements ready while we are in port.
Revere, who is his mind's already somewhere else. Because what? No, Captain. If Starfleet wants to send me somewhere else, then obviously. But no, I have no intention of leaving Starfleet. I mean,
My sentiment is much the same.
Utopian Planitia comes calling, then something to think about. But until then,
She
Or,
nods her head.
or if, I don't know, Chief of Starfleet Medical becomes available, I wouldn't complain.
She nods her head and says, I figured as much. I just had to remind you of the option. I look forward to serving many years aboard this ship, and if the two of you are by my side, I will not have any complaints.
likewise, Captain.
All right, then, you are dismissed.
Right. And I think I'll just accompany the doctor to go ahead and get my physical done.
Mm-hmm.
As the two of you are in there, um, Ops Specialist Yunho. Corman Conway. And Inchinman Bazak all arrive. The Corman quickly takes his place assisting you, Doctor. And the other two kind of wait to be seen. Yes, it is a new scene. Give me Insight Medicine, difficulty 0, assisted by the ship's sensors. Medicine.
Cool. The only thing I could see being remotely relevant would be like infectious diseases, but I doubt it. I will spend a
You
momentum.
can use the focus because that's what you're looking for, yes.
Oh, okay. Cool. I'll take it. Oh, yeah, I won't complain. That's just so I can get a reroll in case of comps.
You gain 4 momentum.
Thanks, ship.
Don't start bad mouthing the ship.
The lieutenant is the image of health.
Ah, my holo projector is working.
Very good. As long as you stay to your normal regimens and don't overdo it, you appear to be in peak health.
That's good news. Thanks, Doc.
The doc steps aside.
And then Revere will. I can't drag that token. Revere will head
can
back
replace
for
it.
engineering. Oh, yeah. Where
Well,
is
actually,
he?
no, because I've been dragging y'all, so hold on.
Oh no, there's a clone.
The ops specialist speaks up and says, Doctor, thought sir should come see you. And she says, I am having a bit of a tough morning.
Oh, please do sit down. And he looks to what's the name? Junho.
Yeah.
Do you wish for Specialist Junho to be here for this?
Oh, she says, oh, I don't mind.
All right. Very well then. What is the trouble?
Give me reason medicine. I think you have something that helps you with dealing the
Yep.
first time with something, right?
I have diagnostic expertise. When I succeeded in a medicine task to identify and diagnose the nature of
Oh
a
no, I'm
medical
thinking quick study here. When you're because you know, you're not too long out of the academy, right? So so this is maybe not the first time you've treated a trill, but it's probably the first time you've treated this specific issue with a trill.
So yeah, quick
So-
study would reduce the difficulty.
So insight medicine difficulty 1, assisted by the ship's reason medicine difficulty 1, assisted by the ship's sensors medicine.
Same.
As
But does
this is
my
mostly you
diagnostic,
talking about it with them before you even using the sensors.
yeah, does the diagnostic expertise help though? They succeeded in a medicine task to identify and diagnose the nature of a medical problem.
Yes. There's a little bit of funniness about the exact wording there in this situation, but yes.
Okay. Hope you don't mind, Aratana. I'm gonna drop 3 momentum on this.
I'll refer you to the relevant Admiralty Board and medical malpractice suits.
Infectious diseases again?
No.
No.
I mean, it's really a point of view thing, but no.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it?
Funny. Solid. Okay. I generate the 3 momentum back.
Oh,
Oh,
did you
God,
get a complication? You did get a complication.
snip.
So you get for bad talking it earlier.
Yeah, see, don't make it worse.
Error.
It's a natural 20 too. It's just a regular old complication.
Oh my God, I forgot about the freaking leg thing.
Two threat, or you want the complication?
Two
Wait.
threat.
Okay.
So are you counting the second die for the ship's die in this game, or?
Because of the ship's talents, it does actually get 2 dice on sensor rolls.
Advanced sensors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sweet.
that's our thing.
Yeah, before even getting your diagnostic equipment out, you're pretty sure you know what the what's going on, and your diagnostic equipment confirms it that the engine man through Bazox is expecting.
I mean, the doctor's a bird. Does he know before grabbing things?
He's had a long time in Starfleet medical to figure out how all the different species work.
But he does start asking pointed questions about how, if she's got her nest prepared.
He's very judgmental.
Well, congratulations.
Fraternization.
Yeah, after they get the news, it becomes pretty obvious who was involved in this process, as the two of them seem to be quite excited about the news.
Well, it is not exactly my place to comment on the fraternization of officers. So all I can say is congratulations, and be willing to offer any medical advice I can give, although it is up to you how you wish for this to impact the pending transfers.
And I will clarify, there's no regulations against fraternization. I don't think I don't think any Star Trek show has ever shown that. In fact, in TOS they have a whole ass marriage, just like
That's right.
before
I
battle.
forgot about that.
Well, they were going to have one, but then
Well, they got halfway
Oh.
through, and then
Right.
there was an emergency, and then the groom got killed, and it was
Right.
very sad.
Fraternization,
terror.
even rank
Really-
military, is more about someone outranking the other person, and that
Yeah,
has a power
exactly.
imbalance. If it's people
Yeah.
of similar rank structure, that's not a big. It's you just have to let your superiors know so they know about the safety of the child.
Anyways,
Yes, I would at least, at the very least, suggest informing those in the relevant rank structure.
yeah, she still somewhat excited says, "Sure will, doctor. Thanks."
And of course, let me know if you will be staying on here on the ship. That way I can provide additional medical assistance or transfer your files to the necessary transfers.
She says, "I love the Andromeda, doctor, but I don't think it's I don't think it'd be great for a kid."
And he looks at sort of the cramped little sick bay, and he looks out in the cramped little corridors, and he says, "No, you are probably quite correct in that assessment."
Do not leave the doctor up to crew retention. God.
Well,
The
he's doing his
operations
job.
specialist says, "You know, I heard they got a couple new classes coming out where they're talking about families and stuff. Maybe there's a spot on one of those new ships."
Oh, really? Well, and he goes over to a terminal, starts just plugging away at it, putting in information regarding this whole thing. And he says, "Families on starships. Well, that's just a recipe for trouble."
We will jump scenes again.
Jeez.
Is
Man, if he had a nickel for every time he had to deal with an unfamiliar pregnancy, like in the last year, he'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but on a ship of this size, it's weird that it happened twice.
Yeah, have you considered a career as a midwife?
I just feel like the idea of making the bird doctor do this is really good, like, story potential.
It is funny, yeah.
Yeah.
so on the first night of Aratana's reverence of Tog, who shows up.
The captain does. She
Does as
pre-wrote
well.
all of her notes early, but she's absolutely showing up.
Revere would go, but I can't move him. I can move
Yeah, I
the other
can't move
people in my
Griffin
engine
either.
room, but not me.
Well, it's
Oh.
fine. I'm moving you around.
Doesn't feel fine. Well, maybe it doesn't feel fine. Feels controlling. I can move this guy. I can move Aratana wherever I want
Hey,
to move him.
shoo.
Save yourself.
Just not me.
Yeah.
I can move this person.
I guess then
Move this person.
the first night is the big one. So who regales the room with the first story about Tog?
Yeah. Solaris will stand up and she'll say, when reviewing potential applicants for the
Well,
security
hold
department.
hold
sorry.
on. I ask only that you give me the mood or theme.
Okay.
Is it happy? Is it heroic? Is it humorous? Is it interesting? Something of that nature.
Then Solaris will just stand up and say something about that she thought Targ was
No. Just as a player,
just the theme. Okay.
give me
Okay.
the theme
I'm
of the
sorry.
story.
I'm sorry. It is positive and reminisceful of his service on the ship.
All of them are going to be that.
Okay.
I think.
Okay,
Like,
then it
is
is.
there a trait
It'd be
what
completely
trait about
bland.
him or about the situation is most prevalent?
Okay, I apologize. It is. I'll say mournful. Does that work?
That
Is that
works. Nope.
okay?
That works.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I think Griffin will add in.
Hold on. Nope.
All right.
It's a succubi all over again.
I'm not even going to ask.
Stop moving people.
It's not me.
That's not me
I
either.
wouldn't if I could move myself. Goodness, it's very
Oh
frustrating.
my god.
Just drag yourself on the board.
Well, I did that, but then he deleted me.
Yeah. Very rude. We're like the wrong size for the ship or something.
Then we go
Big cat.
to the cargo bay. Put the chief there and we'll put
Message from chat. Some TNG style weird pregnancy plots going on today. Not just today.
Yeah.
We just
God.
we've had at least
Yeah.
3 pregnancy related stories.
no, there were 2. The last one was the kid was already
Continuation of the first one.
doing his own thing.
Yeah, the
Oh.
baby was out.
And ready to conquer the world.
Yeah, that baby was ready to throw down.
Find the 3 of y'all as this story goes in the cargo bay. Where you are performing the necessary inventory on Tag's things. So I will take control, security or command from the two, from Artana and the captain. Difficulty 0 as you go through Tag's stuff.
Control command, you said?
Or security, yes.
All right. One momentum.
And an assist from Artana. Three momentum gained. As you catalog and box everything up to be returned to his family, something that brings you all a moment of pause and is the source of the captain's story, a complete set of tapes on preparing one's self for the chief's exam.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah. Solaris actively grimaces and shows some of the most emotion you've seen from her when she picks them up, and she says, "He would have made a great chief."
I kind of raise an eyebrow and very lightly kind of touch you on the wrist to remind you that a non-Vulcan's in the room, because I notice you're expressing emotion. You probably mind that.
Yeah, no, her face goes cold again, but you do see it for a moment.
Yeah. He was natural growth in his career. I mean, he's already getting down the tactical parts of it. It was a matter of transferring it into personnel management and protocol. I was actually going to put him up for to help him tutor him through it, since I know the exam can be a little daunting for an enlistee, especially if you're not used to things like that. Kind of like your command exam, Captain, except far easier. And a lot more written. A lot of written. So much math.
Fortunately, a large portion of what we do here is math.
As the captain finishes relating her story of Tag's impending journey towards becoming a chief and how she wishes she could have seen him work towards that, and how Artana wishes he could have helped shepherd him through that. Does that spark anyone else towards a story?
Yeah, I think Griffin has something.
You can give me the emotion.
I was going to go for humorous and adventurous.
All right. This one is a little bit of a theater of the mind. We go to a jungle on an M-class planet where Griffin, Tog, pull you over here just so we know who. Griffin, Tog, and Revere are putting the finishing touches on a satellite. Chief and Revere have been finishing the setup for a while when out of the jungle comes running Tog, out of breath. And he slowly walks up to Revere. And he's trying to say something, but he keeps running out of breath.
Slow down, Cribben. Just in through the nose, out through the mouth.
He takes a second. He says, the Chief El Rahman, he sent me back to the ship, said you needed additional warp fluid. But Chief Artana said the ship doesn't have warp fluid. I thought you may have the warp fluid, sir. And then, as I was running with the warp fluid, these birds, and he points back out, and there's a flock of birds emerging from the jungle that seem to be following him.
Can I smell that, Tag?
Say that again. I'm confused at what you mean.
I assume he has something that he thinks is warp fluid on him.
Oh no, he's saying he ran to Revere because he thought Revere might know what warp fluid is.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Sorry for that. I'll look at the lieutenant.
When did you disturb the birds in some way?
He said, tripped in the nests on the way here, but I tried to outrun them.
Does he appear to have any, I don't know, yoke on him anywhere?
Insight command difficulty 1.
Let's try and roll this straight as an idiot. Nope, not a clue.
You don't know what he did to cause this problem.
Oh. I say, well, of course they're angry. You went through their nests. How are we going to get any warp fluid if you keep disturbing the great birds of the galaxy?
The birds don't seem to be
process.
hostile. They just seem to be flying around. Give me presence engineering difficulty 3. He's starting to get suspicious, but you may let him have another adventure yet as he runs off to ask someone else about the warp fluid.
Okay. Difficulty what?
The great birds of the galaxy. Dr. Tweer just sneezes wherever he is.
That difficulty 3?
Yes, and Griffin can either assist or oppose this.
I want to say she's assisting, but she's really bad at it.
Well, and
Like,
remember,
very-
this is your telling in hindsight.
Yeah,
So you might inflate how good you actually were at it, or you might
sure.
not. So, you know.
So yeah, I'll give you like 2 momentum and 1 threat for bold, just to really lay it on thick.
All right. Respected Starfleet officer gives you free hit here.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to roll it twice. I do get to
How much in
re-roll
threat
one
was
of the
that?
wisps. 1. Nope, can't do it.
Yeah. So I think that Griffin is saying she helped here.
Okay.
Whether or not she actually helps will determine how
Oh
how
wait,
she
with a free
tell you
hit.
the
Yeah, I got
story.
it. Yeah, duh.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, I was forgetting about the free hit from a respected
Got it.
Starfleet officer.
In that case, I'm going to oppose you.
Okay. Okay. So basically Revere has set the difficulty at 3.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna fail at opposing him. But it's just she's retelling this, overstating how terrible she was at keeping a straight face during all this. Since engineering.
man.
Oh well, you're
Uh,
you re-rolled once, right? So I take that 1 from your re-roll. The first roll, right?
so difficulty 4.
So it's difficulty 4, yeah.
Yeah, I'm rolling straight flat here. I'm not buying any dice.
Okay. It's possible.
Yeah,
You actually wait, no, you have a much higher reputation, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I
You have
have
the
a
maximum,
renowned
don't you?
Starfleet crew. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's gonna tie y'all, right? You basically have the potency 2 version.
Yeah. So Griffin tries repeatedly to school her face like into a mask of seriousness, but keeps slipping just a little bit as she says, "Well, Tag, manufacturing warp fluid is a very intensive and delicate procedure. I'm sure you understand it would be a great problem for us if those birds were to disrupt us in our work here."
Tag is going to try to figure out what's going on here.
I mean, their feathers are dropping, so you get right into the vertical pump system and contaminate the base fluid.
Griffin
Exactly.
tries to help him out, but Tag just he doesn't know, so he says, "All right, well, I could lead them away."
That's an excellent idea,
Yeah.
Grumman.
Yep. Head southeast towards the lake. While you're doing that, we'll be able to nullify the microscopic fluctuation phase array.
So Tag kind of runs towards the birds, starts shouting, and then runs off into the jungle. And they follow
Griffin
him,
just starts
quite
laughing.
perturbed.
Yep. Hey, he'll scare off all the snipes.
And we never did find out why the birds were chasing him.
Oh god, it's at the table with us. Ah.
Ah,
Oh, sorry.
ghost.
Well, someone kept removing all my people and putting them other places. I don't know where they all went.
Probably to bed.
Yeah, just
That's great.
it's so nice to be able to control some tokens.
And it's wild how hard it is not having control of yourself. It's really a blow.
Talk to the doc about that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Clones.
in the final story of the night, who has something to follow up on or share about Tog?
Eritana will I'll stand up from at that point.
What is the prevailing emotion of Aratana's story?
I'd say introspective. Like Tag helped Aratana learned something about himself from Tag. Like, even though he's a junior, that's something Aratana's taking away from this, and that's why he's honoring him. Sacrifice aside, of course.
And we will go outside of the security bay. Shortly after transferring from the passing the SS Cape of Good Hope, and having transferred a crewman from that civilian freighter that the crew alleges was responsible for the murder of the ship's first officer. Aratana all of the evidence you seem to have seems to point towards guilt. You don't see much to even investigate from what the ship has transmitted.
And that ship's basically transmitted that stuff to us to inform us of the crime.
Yes.
So I'm looking over the pad and I kind of look up at Shishirin and Trillian. Well, this is not looking too good for the suspect. I hold it out to them.
Shishirin says, kind of looks textbook, Chief. Tag. In a determined moment, points to the pad and says, that shot down a corridor that long? I don't buy it, Chief. I think we have to give him a chance and look into this more.
So you want to run this down, Trillian? Because if you're opposing the findings, I'm giving this case to you. You're gonna have to run this down and prove it to me. So I'm not opposing the findings of a fellow security official without good evidence.
He says, that security officer made too much about them having a tight deadline. give me insight science difficulty 2, Artana.
I'll throw a couple of 3 momentum at this. Buy myself a couple dice.
I mean, maybe maybe the dilithium market is kind of tight right now. Probably was being honest about what he said.
I may be Trillium, but I'm not terribly. I'm not willing to chase this down myself without cause and disrupt someone else. But like I said, you're putting in for a formal investigation. I'll give you the forms. You can look into this. You're gonna have a pretty tight deadline yourself. There's only so much There's only so much time we can give to this without having the captain have more than a few questions for us. Give me some evidence I can actually work with, not speculation.
What are you willing to let him spend resource-wise? As we find out, is this a story about Artana giving Tag enough leeway for him to show his chops as an investigator? Or is this a time where Artana respected him because he stood up when something needed to be chased down, but he also knew when to call it quits when there was nothing there, rather than stroking his ego?
He can do a full admit. I expect the respect probably Artana has that he's used to Starfleet enlistees and crew being a little too to cleave too close to the rules and not go away from them. And Artana likes breaking rules. Like, I'll get in trouble for it, I'll get reprimands, but at the end of the day, I got the guy, and that's what he hopes Trillian would do. Although he officially wouldn't say that to him because he's not supposed to do that. But it's like he would have respected him for trying so damn hard, even if he whiffed.
Then we come a few days later as Trellian catches you in the corridor. Says, "Chief, I got what you're looking for." And he hands us a pad over to you.
I raise an eyebrow and take it.
Says, dilithium futures from Trishan 3. Prices have been in the gutter for 6 years since the routes changed. There's no reason for them to be going there that fast. And here, the crewman, he didn't know it because, he doesn't seem to be career-minded, but look up the finer point of his contract here. He wasn't too far from being vested with a tenth of the ship as a permanent hand. I think we better tell the captain we got to go track this down.
I read over the file and double check it real quick. And
Insight security difficulty 4.
Spell momentum give you the rest in threat. That's unfortunate.
It's, you know, he put in the work, but you don't see it. I mean, the captain is pretty pretty adamant that this refugee convoy needs to get to its destination on time. And there's, are you willing to derail this mission on a hunch that Tag has? You could do it if you think he's right, but you're not sure that he is. And you don't know what you'd say to convince the captain. So
I kind
this
of.
is either.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say this is either a story of Aratana exceeding his authority on behalf of Tag, or one where he had to tell Tag, who did a lot of good legwork, that today wasn't the day.
I kind of check with my own pad to see how long it would be before they would take off. Like before he couldn't really investigate them personally anymore. Like how so many hours left before we part. And I.
Oh, sorry, I was going to answer that question, but
Okay.
yeah, I was. Yeah, it's like you'd have to leave the refugee convoy without cover for 15 hours.
Trillian, I don't have enough to put this before the captain. This is good work, but it's not enough. I need to sell an officer of Starfleet on this. This is the colony, I'd run it with you. So officially, I have to tell you to drop it. I hand him the pad. And I'll have to remind you that for the next 15 hours, we have to hurry and help them with their work. So, I don't want you getting under my feet while I'm trying to get things sorted. I'm trying to hint to him that he has that much time. Like officially, I'm not condoning it, but I'm trying to tell him you have that much time. That's all you're getting. It's like Aratana is spreading it to Tag, and kind of impressed that Trillian is willing to run this down at all. He doesn't want to be the guy. He doesn't want to be the superior who shut him down.
Give me presence command. Opposed by the captain's presence command, as you're not willing to take this directly to the captain, but maybe you can drop a couple of hints, and Tag can call in a favor with a couple of crew members, and the captain could be convinced of her own accord to go take a second look at this ship.
Mm.
All right. I'll roll flat if you roll flat.
I'll roll flat, yeah.
All right, presence command. Yeah.
Tag will assist Artana.
Ooh. Sorry, buddy.
At the end of the day, it just wasn't to be. Tag did the work. He showed that he was capable of it, but I ask, what about this story is Artana relaying more, that Tag wouldn't quit, and that's what impressed you? That Tag, for the first time, kind of went out on his own, and you kind of admire that and try to do that on your own more? What about this? Even though in the end y'all didn't get the guy, what about the story? Does Artana want other people to see?
Yeah, that level of initiative and dogged determination. Like he wasn't willing to let things go, and that's something that in his years of service and security and colonial security, that's a rare trait for an enlistee, a junior enlistee, a gunner's mate to be willing to fight that hard for a case. And at the end of the day, it didn't turn out, but he'd rather an enthusiastic and zealous investigator than one that was daunted by officer stripes, which he says to officers in the room.
All right. As the stories wrap up, we shift scenes to the next morning. First up, we have Dr. Tweer.
Yes, me. Yes.
You have an interview with Chief Corman Conway.
Cool. Presumably in medical, or are we supposed to have this somewhere else?
You could have it. That's up to you. Do you have it in medical, or do you make use of the officers' quarters?
I
You're
think we
having
have
this in medical because the captain is using the officer quarters for herself.
The
Or the
captain
officers'
does
quarters.
have her own like desk.
Her own
right?
quarters. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I thought you said the captain's quarters. I misinterpreted.
No. The officers' quarters is for Inverni, Tweer, and Revere.
Yes, I understand. That's fine.
Yeah, that seems like a good place to have it. We've gotten enough usage out of the sickbay set.
So, who wants to take up Conway?
Do that.
All right.
I would like a cover. So this interview is about whether he's staying, or I need to
Whether
remind
he's
him.
staying, what he wants out of Starfleet. So I encourage, Griffin to kind of think about looking at Conway's sheet. What would he want out of staying in Starfleet?
Yep. Yeah. Opening up the sheet now.
Chief Conway.
Doctor? Yep.
So, if you wouldn't mind taking a seat, I think we can begin with the simple question of how have you felt about this past year? I know that's a rather big question, but I don't like to sweat the small stuff.
Neither do I, and I respect that. I'd say the year has been eventful, but nothing that I felt I couldn't handle. There've been some real moments there for sure. I know we've both had to work some round the clock shifts now and then, but I've liked the Andromeda, Doctor.
Very good. And you have made definite advancements. And he looks at presumably it's how do they handle the they don't have rank stripes, do they? Because they're not.
Not on the uniform.
Mm-hmm. In which case he just says, "You made definite strides in your career, and I suppose, if I must be blunt, I must ask, are you considering further advancement?"
Well, Doctor, I'm aware that usually a chief corpsman would have a little bit more staff to work with, but the Andromeda doesn't really allow for that. And I definitely could see myself on a bigger ship someday. But right now, I think that I still have more to learn before I'm comfortable leading a whole group of nurses.
Indeed. And what?
Sorry, I forgot to mention that the chief is expected to be in on all of these conversations. They're just not like a
Oh.
participating member, they're kind of an observer.
Cool.
I'm there for the enlistees' protection, basically.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Cool. I see. Very well. I won't begrudge that decision at all. And that being said, I would definitely like to see you have more opportunities to prove that you can lead a medical team, even though the Andromeda does not exactly have one. If opportunities present themselves, and I can put in a good word, I will absolutely do so. You've caught
Thank you,
things that
Doctor.
even I've missed, Conway.
He kind of smiles a little bit about that. Thank you, Doctor.
And I don't need to tell you that Aurelians like me have very, very good eyes. He has a whole talent for it, in fact.
So, um, Griffin, you can set the difficulty to convince Conway to stay in Starfleet. That could be 0, it could be higher.
I think it's difficulty 1 because he does see like there are some ways in which his growth is stifled on the Andromeda, or rather, stay in Starfleet or stay in the Andromeda.
Well, we'll clarify it to the Andromeda because it could be leaving Starfleet. It could be another assignment.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll say difficulty.
So, presence command. Difficulty 1. Doctor.
Okay. Take a threat.
How much?
A threat.
Okay.
Composure focus?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Get cool. Okay. I have 3 dice. Each die has a 50-50 chance.
These are decent odds.
There you
Ooh.
There you go. Take momentum. I will say, Doctor, I would like to potentially try to expand my skill set over the next rotation a little bit.
Yes, of course.
I,
And I will be more than willing to assist you in that endeavor. Given the small size of this crew, you do recall that there are definitely stretches where we don't have much going on.
of course. If I can be frank, Doctor.
Of course.
Sorry.
Just there's a cat out in the hallway coughing up a hairball. Don't worry about it.
go.
In a year or two, I might be thinking about leaving the Andromeda. I don't know where the ship will be at that point, but I think at some
Oh.
point I would like to see a bigger ship and see what else I can do. But for now, I'm happy where I am.
Yes. Well, when that time comes, I will be the first one to put in a letter of recommendation.
Well, thank you, Doctor.
So, if both of you agree, I'm going to permanently give Conway the trait of prospective team leader.
Sounds good.
He hasn't proven himself at it yet, but it seems that's kind of what the doctor wants him to work towards and kind of what he's interested in.
Yeah, he's shown that he has the like in the moment intuition to like make those calls.
There'll be a note on the file from Aratana that he should that the corpsman should take command classes if he intends to be in a leadership position of any kind, as he has the bare minimum that the academy the technical academy teaches us.
Yep, that.
He could use a plus to presence, maybe a plus to command.
Oh, he's gonna need to shift around some of his scores then.
Yep.
So yeah, then go ahead, Griffin, and add that trait, prospective team leader.
Prospective team leader.
Or else.
Oh no.
We then jump This is a good question. It's a small ship. What small section of the ship does Revere purloin for his interviews?
Transporter room.
Not much places with chairs, really, are there?
Just sit on the pad. If I don't like your answers, I'm being you.
There's phaser rooms 1 and 2. There's the science labs. There's the torpedo room, and yep, that's the chairs, except for the bridge and the corridors.
Fair
You
enough.
could do the mess bit. You could do the mess hall.
Honestly, he has enough crew.
I mean, I imagine you could, if you really had to, you could go into the transporter room and like get a couple chairs from storage.
Except it's a main thoroughfare. People come and go through there.
Transporter room?
Yeah, we might need it for ship stuff.
This is going to be at a different time. You could do the officers' quarters as well.
Well, might as well just use the corner table at the mess deck at off hours. My plan is to try and get everyone done in a day. I'll get up early, hit the 2 on Gamma shift before their shift ends, hit the 2 on Alpha shift, my shift, at various points during the day, and then stay late and hit the 2 on Beta shift.
All right. Well, I can already tell you for free that. In fact, I'll need a new folder for this. Engineman Saru, and for the science deck as well, Specialist Young Ho are automatic outs. The Andromeda is not capable of offering what they would need to be convinced to stick around, so they're going to seek Starbase appointment.
I was about to say, am I trying to figure out if they're staying on the Andromeda or just in Starfleet?
You'd prefer both. Like your job as a Starfleet officer is convince them to stay in Starfleet, but you also have kind of an unspoken duty to the ship, right? To not have the ship like permanently in dry dock for 6 months waiting for replacements. So your only official responsibility is to counsel them towards careers in Starfleet,
right?
Or assisting them in finding a career outside of Starfleet if necessary. But like there is the unspoken responsibility as well.
Fair enough. But it sounds like they're both going to stay in Starfleet, just looking for a posting that's more conducive to. Yeah. Okay. That's fine then.
So, let's see. The interview we will focus on is your interview with Chief Deflector Specialist Damara Kaufman.
Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Did I say something?
Chief Defector.
Yeah.
You said-
Oh,
We have a specialist
Deflector.
role just for defectors.
Yeah.
God, the eye patch, it just sells it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It does.
Chief Deflector Specialist Damara Kaufman.
Damar.
Who would like to play the chief?
I got it.
All right. This, for her, I am going to spend 4 on a reveal.
Uh-huh.
Chief Kaufman has held her current rank for 5 years. She's at the point where most would consider retirement or advancement, but until Aratana makes Master Chief, which could be years away, Kaufman is very limited in her promotion chances on the Andromeda, and also staying too much longer at Chief could hurt her chances of ever making Senior Chief. So,
Was her mother's maiden name like Kim or something?
so I will reveal that information. That information is primarily revealed to Kaufman. That is the threat spin. So,
All right. Yeah, then Kaufman's just going to sit down at the table and she's going to say, I'm going to give it to you straight, Chief. I don't have any problems with this ship or its crew, but I can't spend too much longer at my own rank, or my career will stall out. And so, if this ship doesn't offer me advancement potential, I'm not sure why I should stay.
So GM, is there any kind of like you know how in some organizations there's like your standard rank path, and then there's like a parallel path, like whereas you got in World War II is like you had sergeants, then you had technical sergeants, and then
I will say not canon anywhere, but I'm not against saying that something like that doesn't exist. So if you want to give me reason command, I will let you set. No, I won't.
okay, roll 20. Why are you messing with me? There we go.
I'm going to spend 2 to say to give the trait lack of updated tapes. You don't know. You know theoretically the positions available, but you don't have up-to-date information on the posts Starfleet will accept the Andromeda having. And I'm going to spend another 2 on difficult paths. Anything you're about to suggest is not the standard path for a reason. So give me give me reason command difficulty 3, and we'll see what Revere kind of thinks up.
Fair enough. Fortunately, in preparation for my days full of meetings, I did the reading on all sorts of things and on my crewmen. So I have to give you momentum for that, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
you give you use science instead of command. So you are approaching this conversation entirely theoretically about hierarchies of command and stuff rather than anything specific.
Like, this may not be the ideal path, but here's a technical way you can get progression.
Right. I mean, all a hierarchical rank structure is it's a very structured, very predictable, very logical kind of setup. So yeah, I mean that's a perfect way to explain it. So this was difficulty what now?
3.
Don't think any of my things will help me. Respected Starfleet officer.
I'm going to spend 2 to create the trait, the temporary trait for the chief defector specialist of long serving.
Okay.
She's not wowed by good officers and good senior officers because that's what she's come to expect. Like she's not wowed by someone who's goes above and beyond. She wouldn't serve under anyone who didn't go above and beyond.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so she's the one who let herself drop unconscious while helping me work on the dual warp bubble. So I kind of want to keep her. So yeah, take 3 threat for 4 dice. With did the reading, I can pretend I have a focus for this.
Okay.
Got it.
You'd think for a second there is a small and narrow path here, but it could work. When you were serving on K4, you had a chief who was outside of the engineering command structure, who was assigned just to the department in general, whose entire responsibility was K4's experimental phaser arrays that had been installed for in the early part of the war. So this person kind of set outside the command structure, which could solve the problem, and there is precedent of kind of specialized experts. The only difficulty is that this position generally kind of assumes that the person works on that and doesn't get pulled much into everyday engineering work. So there, you do see a path, but it's not the cleanest path.
So Aratana's rank is senior chief.
Senior
Yes.
chief, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and to clarify, they don't have to instantly go to Master Chief. This person could take that specialized role as a senior chief. The drawback is, regardless of what they're promoted to, is that they now fall outside the ship's general command structure, and they're attached only as a specialist.
They gotta fall under my generic umbrella of enlistees aboard ship.
All right. Yeah, fair enough. I don't think that's probably the path that she would want to take. And I'll tell her. I said, yeah, your analysis of the situation is perfectly correct. There is a way if you were really interested in staying on the ship to do it. Here it is, but it would kind of take you outside of the regular chain of command, and pretty much you could only do this kind of one thing, except of course in emergency situations. But you could be our warp core specialist if you wanted, or if you were into deflectors so much, the deflector specialist. But in the long term, if you are thinking about staying in fleet till retirement, which it kind of sounds like you're interested in doing, or am I wrong?
She nods and says, I've already been in for so long. I don't have anything else waiting for me back home.
For a momentum, there's one other path that just came to my mind that might come to. Actually, you don't have a momentum, so Insight Command difficulty 2. And either of you or the chief can take this roll up, as this could occur to any of you.
I think you probably have the better numbers on that.
I'm on a 12 myself. I can take a crack at it if you want.
Yeah. This is still the same thing, so I think I could still use
because they're last
the
for the
reading.
scene,
Yeah. And I'm just doing a 12 here as well, but I do get a focus.
You'd have a
with
focus,
the
yeah.
talent. Yeah. What's the difficulty?
2.
Okay. Then take
and you can have an assist. In fact, for a momentum, you can have 2 assists, but
we don't have a momentum.
Yeah.
that is true. Oh no, you can't spend a threat. It's momentum or threat.
Yeah, it's one of the immediate ones. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I'll certainly assist because I have the number.
Okay, well, yeah, let's just you and I do it then. We don't have to spend anything for it.
And if we're short one, we can always spend to try to cover that extra gap.
Yep.
Well, I can't. My number is
can't
irrelevant.
Receive an assist.
Yep. Nope. So yeah.
Fair enough to determination spend.
I don't know if this character's ever been activated or has been activated.
She
okay.
has.
Yes.
And her primary activation is why Revere is trying so hard.
Okay.
Right.
For clarification, this is the episode. So
okay.
Don't hold back because you think the ship's going to be boarded by Klingons, right?
Yeah.
This is the dramatic point.
Yeah, I'll spend a determination.
Well, we do have a chief defector specialist, so it might be.
She's trying real hard, but Revere's not going to let it
happen.
Yeah. If she leaves, that's what everyone is going to call her from now on.
I hope not.
I'll spend to I can fix anything because I'm trying to fix this situation.
All right. Have you spent towards that before?
No, I have not.
Okay. Make sure to write that down as a log.
Yep.
All right. Re-roll the 2 dice.
Or else.
Well, there's one.
There's one which the assist bumps you up to 2.
Which
you look over the pad and kind of start comparing it and kind of motion over to the chief, and the chief comes and double checks all of your calculations. Actually, the chief deflector specialist meets all but 3 of the requirements for a commission without the requirement to attend the academy. A provisional promotion, which basically it's assumed that she has all the experience, both command experience and job experience. All she has to would have to do is complete a couple of courses on K4 and pass a test. And then her rank is provisional for a year because Starfleet's going to, keep a bigger eye on her because she didn't go to the academy. But, it's something that didn't cross your mind because it's like, 0.5% of officers ever go this way. Most of them who get promoted from the ranks go to the academy or to a specialized
Right.
training camp. There's very few people who meet all the very stringent requirements for promotion within their existing command. But just checking the dots, it's going to take work from you and her and Aratana to actually make it happen, but it's possible.
Right. So yeah, let's see if she'll bite for this. At which point you could be my assistant chief.
Yeah, she's trying to do the job interview thing of I have many officers. I'm not interested in that. But the second you say that, you see her eyes perk up, and she
Oh, her eye
goes,
perk up.
her face perks up, lights up. Oh, because she only has one eye. I see. I didn't even
Mhm.
think about that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're terrible. And she says, I thought regulations didn't let assistant chiefs who aren't officers.
Ah, but that's the thing. Except for, and I turn the pad around so she can see it. You'd have to do a class, but you meet every other requirement for a commission. Now, the commission would be probational at first because you're basically coming up as a maverick rather than either going to the academy straight or getting a field commission and then going to the academy. It's rare, and it's rare because not many people check all the right boxes. But looking over your record, you do. So you and I would have to work closely together, both on the class and pushing this through. But I think you're capable of the extra work, and then you would stay on board the Andromeda at least through your probational period, and then once they ensigns don't have stripes, do they?
They do.
They have one stripe.
They have one dotted
Right.
stripe.
Yeah.
Right. And then once they sew the dashes around your wrist permanently, then you're on officer track. What do you think?
Yeah, she does the math in her head, and GM, unless you say this should be a roll, I think she'd bite because otherwise
No,
she'd.
it's you get
Okay.
to set the difficulty. There's still going to be a roll, but you get to
Okay.
set the difficulty.
Well, yeah, she'll say, well, there could be offers on a Constitution class, but it's unlikely they'd give me the same arrangement. But it's also a Constitution class, and she kind of weighs a couple different options in her head. But you can tell her poker face is not good enough to hide
Yeah.
the idea of becoming an officer because she did not think that was in the cards for her.
I mean, yeah, on a Connie, you could, there's lots more plots to make your way to senior and master chief, but it's small fish in a big pond.
Mhm.
Whereas here, you're a big fish in a small pond, and if you are at all interested in going the commissioned route, this is your best chance, I think.
Yeah,
I mean,
then I think difficulty 2 sounds reasonable for me. This is a very appealing offer to her.
I'm not going to spend to keep up the long-serving trait, so respected Starfleet officer is going to kick back in and bring this back down to diff 1.
Okay. What's the attribute and discipline?
Presence command.
Ah, but
And
still very senior.
actually, I think this is going to go down even further. I'm going to give you another hit from unconventional crew. This is not something generally people push for as a lieutenant junior grade. This is something the occasional captain might mention to the high performing senior chief. Not something a lieutenant junior grade normally tries to like make a significant part of his job for the next year.
Hey, this is how I'm going to get a promotion to lieutenant, though. Look at the way I'm
Yeah.
working, doing officer stuff. All right, so I'm just going to roll flat then. Yay!
Gain a momentum. And you can go ahead and change, because she isn't yet, but next time we see her, she will be Ensign Damara Kaufman with the assignment of
Brevet ensign.
She can be the assistant chief engineer, or depending on Artana's interest, she could, because the needs of Starfleet come first, be assigned as the security officer. Because she's an officer, she's expected to serve where Starfleet needs her rather than directly within her own discipline.
Let me see her file again.
Good command,
Good
not
command.
great engineering.
Oh, no, engineering's great. Just didn't have that great security.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. Aratana would actually would kind of confer with you, Revere, and be like, because this would be like, it'd either be you could use another system, but then again, officers having a wider breadth of experience may be beneficial. So I'm willing to let her sit in to mentor her through the security track if she wants to expand her experience to other command structures. But it depends how much you want her in engineering, how much you want her to move into other departments. How much you want to specialize her.
I want her in engineering, but what does Hoffman want?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Has Kaufman ever been directly involved in any major security roles that would impact my decision here?
She has a
got some on her
security of
file info.
2, so she's had some training more than medicine or con, right? So
Okay.
she's not a novice to security. I would leave it up to you to say.
She says, yeah, she says she expresses some interest in it. Sure. She says, well, security would be a change of pace, and well, there's not many security officers on board the ship. Perhaps it would be a good idea for us to have another security member aboard. We've had more security issues than perhaps we should recently.
I
So
raised
the
an
needs
eyebrow
of
at that.
the needs of Starfleet are going to push her towards becoming the officer in charge of security on this ship, unless Revere wants to make a role here.
Which you probably do, because that would make her ranked higher than an actual player character.
Well, I become chief of the
mean-
boat. I just get a different role.
Okay, okay. But also, I don't want to. Okay.
Artana already has a different position on it. Artana's doing two positions, which is not how Starfleet would like things. But Revere can also and Artana could also try to arrange this so that command kind of works with them rather than against them. That's why there's a role on the table, but the inclination of Starfleet is to make sure each division has an officer.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, again, it comes down to it, and we're in a situation where we really need an engineer more than we need a security person. Then we can always pull her in. I can always do the same thing with the captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, captain runs the boat, but it's my boat.
So, on the soft understanding that she doesn't show up every day to engineering, but Revere knows she, right, she's across the hall.
Right.
So.
And I can easily cover her base if she has to walk off.
As much as I want her available for her engineering prowess and her warp core expertise. It's her career in Starfleet, and this is a chance not only to move into officership, but to step into an officer as head of a department, and that's hard to that's a pretty good deal.
Especially since Aratana isn't fighting it. It's like, oh no, I'm cool with this. It's like I think this is a good move for her.
Right, and so Revere is willing for her to go into the security path, and I mean once her brevet becomes full ensign, as an officer, it's going to be pretty easy for her to, if she decides security is not where she wants to be, she wants to go back to engineering, she can make that switch, or she can go to con or whatever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm clear, right? She is not breveted. She does have all the rights, responsibilities, and expectations of an ensign. Provisional just means that there are less legal loopholes for JAG or command to say, nope, the deal's off.
Right.
But unless they do that, she has all the rights and responsibilities of an ensign.
And I imagine it's also we're gonna be watching you for like a year or two or a few months. It's like as long as you fly straight and square away, you're fine. But if you mess up, we're watching like a hawk now, as opposed to other ensigns where they wouldn't bother as much.
Mm-hmm.
Which means, Chief, you also get to install a bunk bed in the officers' quarters, as the ship now has more officers than the dockyard was expecting. But it also means Conway gets to move into NCO territory.
Yeah.
Oh, so they can put him in. Oh, I see. You mean where he sleeps? Okay.
Yeah.
There's room for a bed here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's an ensign. Does she really get a bed?
She certainly doesn't stay with the NCOs.
Well, that you literally made the comment about fish in ponds. An ensign is a very small fish on a constitution. An ensign is, they're the guppy attacking the tadpoles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whereas here, she's part of your senior staff.
Yes. It's something that Solaris feels mildly embarrassed about.
I mean, your chief engineer is Lieutenant JG, for God's sakes.
As such, Artana, you can freely swap out multidiscipline.
Work with me, mouse.
Or we could just turn the doctor's bed into a bunk bed.
No.
And
probably like having the top bunk.
We shift scene again, as maybe we get an insight into what Artana does.
But if we build it up high enough, it's almost like he's in an eyrie.
Actually, does Solaris want to tackle Artana or Griffin first? Or do you or does Griffin get do you throw Griffin at Tawir?
No, I'll take Griffin. And I'll handle Aratana first because Aratana has greater
how terrible
responsibilities.
Tawir's retention is.
And you're also de facto a senior member of my staff, so like I want to handle you directly, as opposed to some of the more junior crewmen.
Oh, no, I report to your XO. I'm not part of your senior staff. I don't retract
Well,
that.
yes.
Alright.
However, you are a main character of this TV show, and therefore the captain interacts with you
That's
much more
true.
because you fly the ship.
Yeah, this is true.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna do this, and then the next scene is actually going to be like a meta scene where
Uh-huh.
a character who looks an actor who looks very much like Solaris but not is playing the head of a studio talking with an actor who looks very much like Griffin but is not.
Well, you see, that's why Vernie's not in this episode because his actor's having pay disputes with the studio. So that's what gave the writers the inspiration for
Inspired.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love these discussions whenever we're
Meanwhile,
playing.
I still can't move my token.
You should
My
have
player
negotiated for
agency
that in
has
the
been taken
contract.
away.
You should have negotiated
My
for that in the
player
contract.
agency. My player agency.
She'll get your SAG-AFTRA qualification. You have lines.
Shut up. This is not a union stage.
Wait,
Any
we're
more
filming in the
look,
Philippines?
yeah.
Look,
Okay.
it's
We're
Revere's
we're
actor-
very intentionally filming all of this just outside of Atlanta. And
Well, no, Revere's actor like broke his foot, and so like we've had to do all of his shots with him like sitting down and not moving around.
all right.
So,
The lower half of the costume isn't actually even on.
Yeah. Artana, you get the comms from the yeoman that the captain's ready to talk with you.
I stand at a loose attention by the chair. Senior Chief Master at Arms Aratana, reporting as requested, Captain.
Yes, welcome. Come in, come in. I assume you are. I assume you are aware why we are here.
I can make a few guesses, Captain.
I'd like to discuss your future in Starfleet and aboard this ship.
After getting your subordinate killed.
She isn't hold it against you.
Do you mind, Captain? I kind of gesture to the chair.
Please sit down.
All right, tuck it, jumpsuit a bit. What you worried about, Captain?
I'm not worried about anything per se. I just believe that you are a good officer and a good crewman, a good non-con, and I would like for you to stay aboard the ship because I believe that you offer much to this crew, and that it would be harder to do my job without you by my side.
Well, I have been thinking about it. I have been pondering things, and I can tell you that unlike most, losing a subordinate is not new to me. Sadly, it's a thing I've learned to deal with, as the right to remembrance was all about, really. But I do have a personnel issue here aboard the ship that is giving me some pause.
She motions for you to continue.
Permission to speak a bit candid to you, Captain?
She nods her head.
I find you a bit of a tyrant aboard ship. And I feel that if we're going to work together, you need to understand I ain't going to let you push around the enlistees. You have a high degree of excellence. Most officers off Vulcan do. But a lot of these people come from the Mars Technical, and there's only so much we can do. I mean, but we only by chance happen to have a engineer who was fit to officer. Most ain't. Most know their job, know how not to die on a ship, and they trust the officers not to get them killed. But you're expecting everyone out there to be ensigns fresh out of the academy. And now that I'm chief of boat, I have responsibility to protect them. That means I'm probably going to argue with you. That means I might dispute you. I didn't do it before because the previous master of boat didn't say much to you. But I'm gonna. I don't know how much that's going to be to your benefit if I do that, since that will be bucking against your command style.
She listens, and upon you finishing, she says, I appreciate you speaking candidly. I believe it's best for these matters to be aired out in public. Well, aired out in a discussion. I understand your objections to my command style, and I'm sure you understand my reasons for being so demanding. It's not something I take any pleasure in. However, it is done in recognition of the unique challenges and pressures of operating in this environment. If I didn't think the crew could handle it, I wouldn't be ordering them to do it.
I am going to take presence command opposed as Aratana tries to get his message across, and we see how receptive Soloris is.
That sounds good to me.
Spending toward the
So-
value, I offer a single warning, not two.
What? Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Because the as you saw with Tawir and Revere, there isn't going to be rep for this episode.
Hmm.
Instead, through roleplay, you have the chance to get a rep benefit for you or someone else. Like Revere got a battlefield commission. Tawir got a trait for an NPC. So the way y'all have kind of steered this is that either Soloris is going to get a potency 2 version of Tyrant, or is going to get rid of Tyrant, depending on the success of this conversation. So that's kind of the reputation award in play, depending on how y'all roll this. So just to highlight that as you start to throw all of the resources at it.
Oh, yeah.
And okay, let me double check that value. So you said offer a single warning, not two.
Now, I just want to say, I feel like them both being Vulcans means they might be able to use reason. I don't know if it's better,
I will
but it would be funny.
I will take that, not in the sense like you don't have any true authority to undermine the captain, but if the Commodore starts getting reports about how this boat is not meeting expectations, it won't be long before he starts reading into things and starts reading the Aratana's reports, which may never call out the captain directly, but you have a lot of soft power, right? Whereas Soloris is quite understandably, kind of clothed in real power, right? The kind of life and death authority. Aratana has a lot of soft power that could make Soloris's life a nightmare if she wants to, or he wants to. So I will take that, because you do have all of that's an explanation of why you actually can follow through on a warning, because not everyone, like
Yeah.
Griffin couldn't make the same argument because Griffin has no way to follow through on issuing a warning. You can, because of the soft power you have.
Yeah.
So I'll take that. Soloris is the defender. So, Soloris, you'll want to finish the process of rolling first because you're setting
Sounds
the
good.
difficulty.
Sounds good. Okay. Okay. So let me. So, can I do a. Okay. I think, could I do a callback to my word is law or to I expect the best from my crew?
I'll take my word as law because you.
Okay.
This is very reminiscent of you on the bridge. What? Well, not. This is not against the captain. This is the second time you used that.
Yeah. Okay. So, my word is law. The first time I used it was to humiliate the current captain. The second time I used it was to the milestone I got was to talk to the general of the refugees to have her tell me about her nukes so I could
Okay, so this is potentially an arc for you, as you
yes.
do call back to 2 times. You have stared down and not flinched in front of people who had real power and real weapons, right? So there's likely a chief with soft power does not phase you as much. So I will take that. So you
Okay.
gain a determination which isn't available for this role, but you also do
You'll
get the
also
benefits
spend
of
spending one.
spending one. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And
And
actually, I don't say will be. This is an arc.
yes.
Um,
Okay. Awesome. Um. Okay. Since presence command. Okay, and I will spend one momentum, and 2 threat, 3 threat, and 5 threat, and I'll roll 4 dice because we already know the result of 1. Does my trait of tyrant come into play? Because I have a junior officer
um,
challenging me. But that's the thing in
yes.
question.
No,
So
no,
okay.
no. So tyrant is in question, but you're not fighting against it. You're leaning into it. So
Yes.
it does. Um, but I'm gonna say that it's null of
I'm
No,
willing
no.
to suffer
I'm
stress to ignore the tyrant. Like I'm not intimidated.
that's
um
fine by me because she's
I
willing
think
to
you're
have
gonna
a
have a
conversation
couple
with me.
here.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
respected Starfleet officer,
Hmm.
right? At the end of the day, tyrant or not, she has a reputation of doing what's right in coming through
Accomplishing the
for
mission.
not just accomplishing a mission, but doing it in a way that is within Starfleet's values. Inspiring
Hmm.
presence. She may be a tyrant, but when she gives a speech or when she's like at full stature, you can't help but like think that she's on your side. So
Hmm.
I think there are 3 traits in your favor here.
Okay.
I have not checked Aratana's sheet yet to see if there are any competing ones, but um, we'll do that after you have finished rolling.
Sounds good.
Are you going? Actually, we'll discuss whether you ignore any of these when we get to Aratana's half of the task.
Mm.
So for you, you're rolling 4 dice and you're +5 at the moment.
Okay. And because I'm having a conversation with him about this, I'm not yelling at him about this, but I'm
Yes,
willing to
rhetoric.
hear him out. Rhetoric.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Awesome.
Because you can talk someone in circles.
Hmm.
All
Okay.
right.
Hmm.
6 total.
I get 1 free reroll from Cautious Command, so that is 3 total.
That
Plus,
is 8 total.
yep, plus 2 from the determination, and then plus 3 from your traits.
All right. So 8 is the number to beat.
Hmm.
All right. You're at +2 because you used a value.
And to call back, I don't have a callback to that because the last time I used a single warning was fighting beasts, not challenging superior. So
What was there any more to the situation? Because what that is to say, don't undersell yourself. If
oh
you
no,
know,
that was the
explain the
episode where we were
situation in full.
fighting. Oh well, actually, uh, that was the episode where we were fighting the space mammoths or whatever, and that's probably the first time me and
That's
the captain clashed.
That's where she got inspired. She got inspiring presence from that clash. So
Yeah.
yes, I'll take that as a callback because it's not. It wasn't just fighting.
That's true.
beasts
Yeah,
in that
I completely forgot I had that discussion. I was like, oh
Because
yeah,
it's the
that was
log
that
of
episode.
the episode, not just the task that you spent it on. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'll take that callback.
Call
I think
back.
that's a milestone. Right?
Milestone. Yeah, it's a milestone. It's only the second time we've done it.
So this is turning into like Uber character development as the two of you go head to head.
No focus for me. But respected Starfleet crew.
You will nullify out here, so that'll bring her down to 7 and won't give you anything.
And does mental discipline help me with tyrant or inspiring presence?
Okay. So
I'm looking at like 4 stress because of that, because it's 2 different things. This is where having Kolinar is so helpful. Because then it's just 1.
all right. Yes. So you could suffer 4 stress, and tyrant and inspiring presence no longer apply as you are being as calm and as rational as it is possible for a biological being to be. I am going to put I'm going to raise the complication by 5 on the high potency trait air of insubordination.
That's
Artana
accurate.
has a very narrow path to walk, right? That you're someone like you can do this because of your emotional control, but Solaris didn't earn this reputation for nothing, and if this comes to a legal dispute, your soft power is nothing against her real power to involve the Jag, right? So you have to be so much more careful than she does because of the rank discrepancy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a difficulty. She rolled 3 and got 2 from determination. All of her traits have been nullified, and you don't have any supporting traits that weren't used for nullification. So I think this is a difficulty 5, and you have 2 free hits at the moment.
I am going to give you 5 threat to cover the buy up my dice pool.
Okay. That's 6 successes. Okay. Because this is not a straight task, it is a player versus player roll. I have to come back and ask, are there any rerolls, Solaris, you intend to manage, or are you letting it lie?
I'm letting it lie.
So 6 on 5. Solaris, you have the very real realization that this is how standing your ground here is how you end up as a solemn tale to ensigns about at the Academy of where the abuse of command that road starts, right? This is the point where they say in these lectures, and this is where the captain should have listened, but he didn't. And then it's like 2 or 3 years till something terrible happens. But this is the point to turn around and you realize this is like so many lectures you've heard. Aratana's giving you that chance to fix this while you still get to be a captain and a proud member of Starfleet. After this point, nobody may be able to give you that point to turn around and not become a tragic figure.
Yeah. No, you know, you get the shot of her standing up, and she walks as she often does when she's considering something by having her hands behind her back, and she walks over to this corner, close up on her face in the light as she considers her actions, and then she turns back and she says, "I am afraid that you might be right, and that my push against the crew might be too strong. I do not regret any of the actions I've taken, as we have seen broad scale success in our missions, but I understand how it is a likely outcome that if this continues, that future problems would happen." And she walks closer to the desk and she says, "I will loosen the reins and allow greater flexibility from the crew. Perhaps it would be wise if you stick around. I value your open mind and opinion. You provide a very good balance of powers. Many of the other officers do not like to and do not feel intimidated by the captain. I can't imagine why, but you do not feel such feelings, and you state things very bluntly. That is an asset few captains get to possess."
I've been accused of many things. Open-mindedness hasn't been one of them, but I'll take the compliment all the same, Captain. I'll just let a little smirk perk out and then smother it quickly.
Yeah. So does that mean a tyrant trait goes away?
I'm looking at something up.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're going to lose the trait Tyrant, and Aratana's going to gain the trait Duranium Chief. As on more than one occasion, Aratana has stood his ground against odds that few would accept. He's getting a bit of a reputation. Like, the crew don't know what was said here, but the crew do know the chief had his promotion. Or the chief had his end of patrol service review with the captain, and then in the following days, the captain really kind of loosened up the assigned tasks and the schedule for the ship. So people kind of put 2 and 2 together, even though they don't know what was said.
Yeah, because the chief definitely went out at once he started loosening up. Like, what? What are you talking about? We just had a chat about me staying on. That's all.
Scene changes again.
You lose a threat. Second you roll easy.
As a guide, I try to think of a way to spend 18 threat against Chief Griffin.
Oh, God.
Well,
You're welcome.
looking forward to that one.
So, Chief, you get a note from the yeoman that it's your turn to come. You'll be because your divisional officer is away. You'll be having your end of patrol review with the captain.
Oh no.
Don't worry, I'm here.
Oh no.
Hey.
That doesn't help.
So yeah, Griffin steps inside, looks between the two impassive Vulcans somewhat skittishly, and then quickly sits down. Captain? Chief?
Welcome, Griffin. We are here to discuss your future in Starfleet and aboard our ship.
Oh no, what did I do?
You did not do anything. This meeting is standard for all Starfleet officers. You have nothing to fear.
I'm going to spend a lot.
Look, the GM said he was going to spend. I'm playing into that.
No, this makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Zaratana perhaps clears his voice and kind of hands the pad of, there's a few things on the file.
Well,
We have more than a few
yeah.
things to discuss, apparently.
Uh-huh.
I'm temporarily pushing up the potency on the trait Quantum Ghosts. You have a couple
Ooh.
of reports from other crew members that Griffin has said some awkward or uncouth things about different realities, the kind of frivolity of life. And it's not even something she's been paying attention to. It's just she's experienced something that no one really has experience with, and there's not really anyone who could help her through it. So
And
she's
like,
making her
no
own
one
way through it.
really knows I've experienced it, right?
They it's
I mean, they
becoming
know there's a
clear. It's
report,
becoming clear
but
because of comments you make, but no one actually
yeah.
knows. No one knows you experienced it like you know you experienced it.
Yeah.
They just know. It's becoming clear that you make weird comments about it, just about
Got it.
life in general.
All right. Well, I'm glad this is a meeting everyone's having then, Captain.
Yes.
Everyone being here and all.
Well, not everyone aboard the ship is here. Of course not. However,
Oh
you
no,
are
not
chief.
what I meant. No.
Yes, Chief Artana is here, and he will represent your interests. And you notice as she reaches through a couple files to pull, to pull out your file, and she says, "Now, how are you finding your time aboard the Andromeda?"
The Andromeda's great, Captain. Fast ship, real maneuverable. Love flying her. Haven't had nearly as much fun at the helm since I was in fightercraft. Glad that there's a ship that can pull that kind of G-force during peacetime too.
Of course. Now, what's this I see in your file about a couple remarks from other crewmates that you've made unusual comments?
Not sure, Captain. Could you elaborate?
Uh, Notions about mortality and alternate realities and other concerns. Is this an interest of yours?
Uh, well, I wouldn't say it's exactly an interest of mine, but uh, I mean, just kind of look over at the chief. Chief, are we no decor here, or do I have to be really on ceremony?
Unless you're given leave by the captain to be candid, you're on formality, Chief.
Yes, Chief. Uh, well, I've been in Starfleet for a good 20% of my life, Captain, and I would like to stay here. I've made this my life, and a lot of that time was during war. I think mortality tends to creep up on you and get a little numb to it. So apologies if any of my comments were out of line. I've just seen some things.
Yes, well, we have resources aboard the ship if you ever need to speak to someone. However, I do not believe that this constitutes a problem. It is merely something I wanted to address. Now, I would like to remark that you have been a very skilled officer, that you have accomplished your job with distinction, and that you have, through your own personal efforts, directly saved the lives of this crew multiple times over. Unless you do not wish to remain aboard this ship, I would appreciate it if you remained aboard.
Nothing in the fleet moves like the Andromeda, Captain.
She nods her head and says, yes, I do concur with this sentiment.
She's gonna like nod awkwardly and look around.
If that is all,
So, Griffin, what's the difficulty to keep you on the Andromeda?
Ah, that's interesting. Because the quantum ghost thing acting up
Is going to
definitely makes her
increase the diff
uneasy.
by 5.
Yeah. So,
5, okay.
but she does love flying this ship. So I think base 0, actually.
Okay.
It's the only thing that makes her want to leave.
I can tell you how you can get it down a little bit further.
Sure.
You can lean into brazen. You can say literally that to the captain, which is,
Yeah, you
it
know
may,
what?
it may trigger the captain to be like, oh shit, this is bad,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
it'll help
Oh,
you
God.
get the
Yeah.
task lower.
It's kind of swallow visibly for a second and say, Captain, permission to. Never mind. So a couple months back, there was this whole thing with the ship almost blowing up. And I remember both versions of events because there was a quantum like superpositioning of the ship, and I saw half of the crew die. Well, I saw all the crew die because the other ship didn't make it. And I served as a bridge between these two ships. As far as I know, our Inverni is their Inverni, but like not like a scary like alternate dimension way, just like
Chief, you might want to stop.
Yeah, no, the captain
just
has just been giving you the most quizzical of looks, and she says, have you any evidence for these presuppositions?
Captain, special request that the doctor be summoned for the sake of the chief.
The captain will look over at you, Griffin. Do you want the doctor summoned?
I kind of give you like an encouraging nod of please, and then stop if the captain looks at me.
yes, Captain. She says obvious. Not quite obviously, but
Yeah,
bordering.
I mean, okay. If you want the doctor here, then she will open her communicator and say, Dr. Tweer Dr. Tweer to the captain's quarters.
And here is where I spend 10 threat
For goodness sake.
to end the scene prematurely.
Oh
It
no.
no longer is up to Griffin whether she can stay in Starfleet or serve aboard the ship. The chief no longer has any pull on this topic. The captain has been sidelined.
Oh no.
Dr. Tawir, you have to make a roll to determine if you can provide adequate medical care, psychological care, to allow the chief to retain her position, or whether she needs to be temporarily reassigned to Starbase.
Yeah, like medical leave.
And the consequence is not losing the character. The consequence is introducing like a temporary character for probably 3 or 4 episodes before Griffin comes back, if you don't succeed.
Okay.
Might want to activate the Corbin to help the doc with this.
This more appropriate would be the yeoman.
Oh, the yeoman. Oh.
Because this is paperwork, right?
Okay.
The corpsman can't really provide any medical opinion here, right? He doesn't have any training in this. This is all paperwork and the doctor's medical opinion.
Mm-hmm.
What's the diff of this, and what's the check?
So the diff was going to be 5 because of quantum ghosts and its increased potency. Renowned Starfleet crew, because of her reputation, brings that down to 3. And brazen, because she has a reputation for being forthright, which means neither you nor the Starfleet medical officer reviewing this request think she's lying and needs more serious intervention. So after her other traits, difficulty 2, insight medicine, because this is mostly determining what you think about the situation, and you can be assisted by the yeoman's reason command as he helps you through the regulations.
Take a threat for a
All
third
right.
die. I'm not foolish enough to give you 3.
Well, hey.
Take a assist from the yeoman, and the computer can provide computer's command.
It's a die. Hey.
Just need someone to pull out the chief there. I mean the yeoman.
Yeoman.
All right, I'll do it. What's he rolling?
Reason command.
Okay, reason command. A focus of Commander Solaris, because Solaris wants to keep her around.
No, because it doesn't matter what Solaris's opinion is anymore.
Okay.
It's now a
Chain of-
medical problem.
Starfleet protocols, because he knows
Yes.
the okay. Okay, I didn't hit the focus for that, but it doesn't matter because that wouldn't have applied
Okay.
anyways.
So 3 momentum gained.
Huzzah.
And before we see Griffin next, she'll have had a couple of sessions with Dr. Tawir, and so you can replace the trait Quantum Ghosts with something in the nature of like quantum understanding or something in that nature, which shows it's no longer scarring. But you still have an understanding of it more than
Quantum
most
awareness,
people do.
kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, quantum awareness works.
Okay.
Well, Well, Griffin, normally I'm the first one to be crying uh uh crying danger at uh any medical checkup. However, I think the concern that you need full uh psychiatric intervention on Starbase is a bit premature. Um, I believe that with a couple of sessions, we can clear this up, and you should be right as rain to continue duty as normal here on the Andromeda. Of course, if uh, anything further comes up, I will, of course, have to note it, but
Right, Doctor. Thanks. It's a little. I'll be honest. I didn't really know how to bring it up before, so glad it's all out in the open now, I guess.
well, that seems to be the Andromeda's MO. Weird and different.
If you say so. I just get us there and back.
God damn it.
I feel like the joke has to be that like the captain and Aratana were like, we need you to check in on Griffin. There's a problem, and Tweer's just like, oh, please don't be another pregnancy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh, it's just like weird quantum ghost bullshit. Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, the minute there was the ghost, as it were, of a medical issue, it's like, oh, you need to stop talking to the captain right now. You need to talk to the doctor. For your protection. What? This...
Correct. But I've been playing Griffin as someone who has a lot of technical experience, but not much
Yeah.
outside of the technical experience she
Yeah.
has.
No, yeah. Tracks.
Oh god, there's all people over here now.
Seriously, we have to do something about all these nomads.
These
And
are
I just,
wanderer units? They're not nomads? What are you talking about, Chief?
If I could move over there and look at them more closely, perhaps I could be able to tell you. But
So,
I've been stripped of my agency as a player.
Oh my god.
so dumb.
Yeah. See, I mean, I
um,
expect it because I'm not an officer, but as a lieutenant, you should really have that.
Well, he's only a junior, you see, so
Oh, right.
he's not trusted
you
to
get way over here then after that.
stop.
See?
Stop.
I can take away other people's agencies.
Okay. So, um, as the I need to remind myself. Tweer is a full lieutenant, right?
I believe he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
All right.
he's
In the
just
absence of Inverni, it is actually your responsibility to inform the captain that the ship's company is assembled.
Captain.
Yes.
The entire ship's complement is present and ready for you to address them.
Captain, You can look over your shoulder towards the yeoman, who, since you don't have a bosun, stands in and pipes attention. And that is your signal to provide last words before Tag's wishes of burial in space are carried out.
Understood. Then yeah, then she will say, "We are gathered here today to commemorate the loss of the dear crewman Tag von Drellian. He was a exemplary member of this crew and of Starfleet in general. We have all shared previously many stories about him that have proven his importance to this unit and its social functioning. He will be missed, and, well, he will be missed, and as per his wishes, he will be buried in space, where he will remain with us and the universe forever and ever. And she will motion for Artana to fire.
Artana, you find yourself at the controls of the main torpedo tube with your former charge and subordinate Tag von Drellian loaded and awaiting his final farewell.
Yeah, by this point, Aratana is now wearing an orange armband on his uniform as part of the mourning ritual he's doing. But as he's typing in the firing solution, he is gonna set it to aim basically towards the gravitational pull of a star system. So it won't immediately get into the nearest star system. It will kind of slingshot around it and keep going and going. So it's in space as much as possible. So he isn't just instantly incinerated because he was. So he has a long journey, or his body has a long journey.
You have a solid solution. You and Griffin have worked out to make sure his wishes are observed.
And then I hit the fire control.
There's a charging sound, then a whoosh as Tag von Drellian leaves the ship for the last time. And then at the signal of the captain, Yeoman Heron pipes the ship to stand down, and we close out the episode.
Good. Well, with that, everyone, for all of you watching out there, thank you very much for watching. For those of you playing and running, thank you very much for doing so. And next time, we will see what happens from us returning, I suppose. A war is over, and we get new crew, lots of changes. Not sure where it's going to go from here. Heck, I don't even know what talent I'm going to be taking, since I've changed a bit too. So we'll see all those fun things in the next episode. You all have a good one. See you next time. Bye.
Awesome. That was fun. Um,